Men must live and create. Live to the point of tears. Nothing is more despicable than respect based on fear. He who despairs of the human condition is a coward, but he who has hope for it is a fool. Real generosity toward the future lies in giving all to the present. Truth, like light, blinds. Falsehood, on the contrary, is a beautiful twilight that enhances every object. Man is the only creature that refuses to be what he is. But what is happiness except the simple harmony between a man and the life he leads? Without work, all life goes rotten. But when work is soulless, life stifles and dies. Alas, after a certain age every man is responsible for his face. The absurd is the essential concept and the first truth. There is no fate that cannot be surmounted by scorn. In the depth of winter I finally learned that there was in me an invincible summer. Freedom is nothing but a chance to be better. The only real progress lies in learning to be wrong all alone. To know oneself, one should assert oneself. Those who lack the courage will always find a philosophy to justify it. Every act of rebellion expresses a nostalgia for innocence and an appeal to the essence of being. Integrity has no need of rules. To be happy we must not be too concerned with others. The need to be right is the sign of a vulgar mind. Some people talk in their sleep. Lecturers talk while other people sleep. Charm is a way of getting the answer yes without asking a clear question. I should like to be able to love my country and still love justice. I know of only one duty, and that is to love. Blessed are the hearts that can bend, they shall never be broken. A man without ethics is a wild beast loosed upon this world. Autumn is a second spring when every leaf is a flower. Nobody realizes that some people expend tremendous energy merely to be normal. The struggle itself towards the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. There is no love of life without despair of life. You cannot create experience. You must undergo it. Friendship often ends in love, but love in friendship, never. The welfare of the people in particular has always been the alibi of tyrants. No cause justifies the deaths of innocent people. It is a kind of spiritual snobbery that makes people think they can be happy without money. A guilty conscience needs to confess. A work of art is a confession. We continue to shape our personality all our life. If we knew ourselves perfectly, we should die. The myth of unlimited production brings war in its train as inevitably as clouds announce a storm. A taste for truth at any cost is a passion which spares nothing. By definition, a government has no conscience. Sometimes it has a policy, but nothing more. In order to understand the world, one has to turn away from it on occasion. Heroism is accessible. Happiness is more difficult. Your successes and happiness are forgiven you only if you generously consent to share them. To abandon oneself to principles is really to die, and to die for an impossible love which is the contrary of love. At any street corner the feeling of absurdity can strike any man in the face. Culture, the cry of men in face of their destiny. I am not made for politics because I am incapable of wanting or accepting the death of the adversary. Without freedom, no art. Art lives only on the restraints it imposes on itself, and dies of all others. Virtue cannot separate itself from reality without becoming a principle of evil. In order to exist just once in the world, it is necessary never again to exist. The role of the intellectual cannot be to excuse the violence of one side and condemn that of the other. Every revolutionary ends up either by becoming an oppressor or a heretic. Violence is both unavoidable and unjustifiable. Too many have dispensed with generosity in order to practice charity. All that I know most surely about morality and obligations I owe to football. I draw from the absurd three consequences: my revolt, my liberty, my passion. Real nobility is based on scorn, courage, and profound indifference. Why should it be essential to love rarely in order to love much? Ah, mon cher, for anyone who is alone, without God and without a master, the weight of days is dreadful. We turn toward God only to obtain the impossible. We rarely confide in those who are better than we are. We call first truths those we discover after all the others. The society based on production is only productive, not creative. What the world requires of the Christians is that they should continue to be Christians. Don't wait for the Last Judgment, it takes place every day. We are all special cases. What is a rebel? A man who says no, but whose refusal does not imply a renunciation. It is not your paintings I like, it is your painting. Those who write clearly have readers, those who write obscurely have commentators. Every time somebody speaks of my honesty, there is someone who quivers inside me. Rebellion cannot exist without the feeling that somewhere, in some way, you are justified. All modern revolutions have ended in a reinforcement of the power of the state. You have to be very rich or very poor to live without a trade. The day when I am no more than a writer, I shall cease to be a writer. To be famous, in fact, one has only to kill one's landlady. The absurd depends as much on man as on the world. For the moment, it is all that links them together. There is but one truly serious philosophical problem, and that is suicide. An intellectual is someone whose mind watches itself. To govern means to pillage, as everyone knows. How hard, how bitter it is to become a man. The real passion of the 20th century is servitude. Conscious of not being able to separate myself from my time, I have decided to become part of it. Every man, and for stronger reasons, every artist, wants to be recognized. So do I. I have never been able to renounce the light, the pleasure of being, and the freedom in which I grew up. Only a philosophy of eternity, in the world today, could justify nonviolence. One leader, one people, signifies one master and millions of slaves. It is normal to give away a little of one's life in order not to lose it all. Man wants to live, but it is useless to hope that this desire will dictate all his actions. When you have really exhausted an experience, you always reverence and love it. Every great work makes the human face more admirable and richer, and that is its whole secret. Man is an idea, and a precious small idea once he turns his back on love.